Index funds. When I started, I was very confused what to know, what are the index funds, where to start. So these are some of the information I gathered and what I learned. So I'm gonna share with you about my learning. So index funds. Index funds are the funds that track market index. For example, S&P 500 is known as index fund. So any fund that track S&P 500 is index fund. So there are a couple of other market indexes like S&P 500, TJIA, Nasdaq 100, Russell 2000, and there are a couple of others in international market. And there are some others who are actually the indexes of bonds and some other market stocks. But we will be more focusing on S&P 500 to just to understand in a better way about index funds. So index fund is a passive investment strategy that copies a market index like the S&P 500. So just to visualize, just think about S&P 500 is a basket full of different kind of apples. Um, and we can call them Apple, Microsoft, Amazon. So these are all the stocks in the S&P 500 basket. So what index fund is going to do is just actively track that S&P 500 investment strategy, invest in all those stocks, and buy a bit share of all the stocks, and that's how actually index fund on an average reduce the risk of loss over the time. So an index fund is a pooled investment that copies a market index like S&P 500. So your return closely match the index returns of S&P 500 minus the fee which actually incur for investing in those funds. So it will be tracking S&P 500 but not trying to beat it. So when you invest in index fund, it is investing in group of stocks instead of one stock. So an index fund is like buying the whole team's jersey. So not betting on one player, you are actually betting on all the players. So if one player underperform, many others will be performing well. So your average will be, so that's actually going to give you a better average. So it's not like buying one stock of Apple or Microsoft or Amazon or Tesla. You are investing in every stock, a little bit in every single stock. So what are the pros and cons of index funds are? The pros of index funds are they're very low fee, no expensive fund managers managing the funds, so you keep more of your returns. Easy to understand because you don't need a big stock market understanding. Just copy a market index, S&P 500, and you are not picking any stocks. So that's not like you don't need a lot of technical information. Lower risk compared to picking single stocks because it is diversified across hundreds of companies. So if one company falls, other will benefit. So just like the last example of team player jersey, it will give you a better average. What else? So historically, strong long-term returns. S&P 500 has grown consistently over decades, great for long-term wealth building. Passive investment strategy, stress-free investment strategy. So no need to track the market daily. You buy and hold, and that works very well. So what are the cons of index funds? No chance to beat the market. They match the market, not beating it. You wouldn't outperform high growth opportunities, but you still can lose money. For example, the market crashes, S&P 500 goes down, so your index fund will also goes down. So it's not risk free. There is always risk involved in it. So limited flexibility. You cannot control which companies are included or excluded. If you dislike a stock, you can't in you still will be owning a tiny piece of it. And if you like a stock and it's not included in S&P 500, you can't include that one. So let me give you an example. Over the last 5 years, Tesla actually outperformed S&P 500 by 775% return on investment compared to S&P 500. So, because you are not actually picking up stocks, you can't buy or invest fully in Tesla when you are investing in index funds. So that's actually giving you less flexibility. But over the long term, um, say compared to other funds, index fund actually always outperform other funds. Let me give you a very good example of that after this. Too much concentration in big companies, S&P 500 is actually dominated by giants, Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, heavy reliance on tech sectors. Slow gain for short-term investors, but better for long-term. So it's not ideal for quick profit, but if you are thinking long-term, it will always pay you back. Let's take an example. So we have $10,000 and we are going to invest for 20 years in 7% with a 7% gain. So in option A, where we are investing in a low fee index fund with 0.03%, so net return is 0.003 deducted from 7%, so remaining is 6.9%. Compared to option B, which is actively managed stock, and it have a higher fee, say it is a 0.75%. So net return will be 6.25%. So after 20 years, with the option A of 6.9% net out of 10,000, you will make $38,480 compared to option B, where you will be making with 6.25% gain, you will be making $33,619. So over the long term, index fund always outperform. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy my video. Do comment, like, and share. Thank you.